Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. As you know, my name is Sal. Today we're going to be breaking down this Wednesday, March 13th. Yeah, March 13th slate in the NBA. Another somewhat average size slate, 6-game slate today. Love these slates if you've been watching. We've been getting 6 to 9 game slates pretty much for like 4 or 5 days now. So 6-game slate should be good. Not a lot of news, but before I start, I just want to say if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Getting about 20 to 30 new people a day, which is incredible. Started back in like October, just making NFL videos for fun for Draftkings, right? Got a lot of good attraction from those, so carried over into the NBA streets where we are right now. And I want to give you as much value as possible. So welcome to the channel. Let me introduce you. First, I guess, personally. And yeah, I just want to give you as much value as possible. We'll start with the injury news, and then we'll take you through everything that I'm looking at early in the day. I think it's very beneficial to not read articles early in the day. Look, if you're on the go and you don't have time and things like that, sure. But I think that a lot of articles are going to sway your mind one way, and then they don't really take into account what the news is for the rest of the day, or they don't really take into account all the moving pieces throughout the day in the NBA, whether it's injury, whether it's just discovering new research throughout the day. So I would say don't read articles because you're just going to automatically get biases, overconfidence bias, which is just you reading an article from somebody thinking they're an expert, and they might be, but you're just thinking that what they're saying is gospel. You can get that by watching me, honestly. But I just try and give you as much objective, not subjective, data and information as possible. Look, the news that we have on injuries, I can't put my bias in that. The data that I'm getting from all this stuff, I can't put my bias in that, which I'll show you. So long-winded way of me just saying I think the best way to start your days is by just understanding where all the players are in their positions, where all the teams stand, which we're going to go over in the target offense, where the best matchups are, and then slowly start to build your own player pool. That's what I do with my early interests early in the day that you feel good about personally. And then throughout the day, you can compare it to what these articles and what some of these experts are saying. But if you're just looking at other people's things in the beginning of the day, you're automatically going into the day biased, and whoever you see first, availability bias, the first information you're getting, you're going to be stronger opinionated to that player and might not want to move off of them. And it's just very important not to do that. So that's the whole psychology side of it. Sorry, long-winded. Welcome to the channel. Just a couple of housekeeping things, especially if you're new here. Hop in the Discord. We hit 3,000 subscribers while I was on vacation, and I've been thinking of a giveaway. So this is the Discord. It's just a group messaging app pretty much. There's over 300, I believe now, 299. Son of a gun. Who's going to be number 300? Could be you if you're watching this soon enough. But I have projections, which I've talked about. You can get the projections and search my name. It's just Sal Vetri. Pretty much if you search my name on Twitter, YouTube, wherever you search it, it's going to come up. My projections are on here. They're $7.99 a month, 30 cents a day, whatever that comes out to. Go ahead. You can use them if you want. You can just hop in there. But what I want to do for the 3,000 giveaway, and this is for returning subs and people that are here, and I don't want to make this too long because I know that people want to see what the day is, but pretty much go into the Discord. We have a free contest, a 100-person free contest that people have been creating in this chat. I believe Mark has been creating in this chat, and go into that free contest. If you're one of the first 100 that can get into it, if you win the free contest, we're going to go with tonight. Yeah, we'll go with tonight by the time this video gets out. If you win the free contest tonight, again, there's 100 people in there. If you win it, you're going to get free projections for a month, which are either DraftKings or FanDuel, whichever ones you want. So get in there. It's a free entry into a DraftKings tournament for potentially a month of projections. So get in there. That's the thing that I came up with. Get in down below. There'll be a link to the DK League, and you just enter the free contest. If you're in the Discord, you could just ask, hey, where's the free contest? I think that would be the easiest way to do it probably. It's just a one-click button on DraftKings. So that's that. We already talked about the projections, and make sure to get into the Discord. Projections are here if you would like them. So let's start this slate off, gang. So yeah, injury news. And sorry for that if that was long-winded. There was just a good amount to say. Let's do it. So actually not really that much injury news as of right now. I might be missing things in terms of if any teams were on a back-to-back last night. I don't believe so, and there were some injuries like late last night when I went to bed. Maybe there's some things that are still murky out there, but this is what I came up with, and I could just black this all out so it's just easier for your eyes to pop to the information. So, I mean, Aaron Gordon's questionable, and so is Josh Richardson. Those are probably the two biggest concerns right now, or things we're waiting on. The biggest news is that Kevin Durant, but he was ruled out yesterday. I spent a lot of time this morning kind of just going through some on and off tools and things like that. And I actually tweeted this. We could head over to Twitter, just basically what's going on with the Warriors when Kevin Durant is off the court. Since Boogie Cousins at mid-January has been there, because that's a big piece. He's a huge usage guy. So on and off the court, you can kind of just Ignore this Damian Lee production that's in very limited minutes. Steph Curry and Cousins get the biggest boosts in usage. Curry goes to like 33%, and I think Cousins is over 30 as well. Clay also gets a boost, but we'll talk about Clay. His price is just a little bit maybe too high at 7,200. So that's what's looking like there in terms of usage. The overall production, though, doesn't really change that much, and you can see it right here. I mean, moving fantasy points per minute by less than 0.1 is really not the biggest of moves, especially if it's in a limited sample. So you can see that was the tweet right here that I had. Going through this data in 200 or less minutes, there's not really production change. It's sort of just getting distributed, but overall it's a small sample. So what you want to look at is the usage, how players are getting involved more in the offense when Durant's out. It's Steph, it's Cousins, it's Clay, and then Draymond would be right behind there trailing. So that's just what that is in terms of what Durant off the court looks like. I know a lot of people have that question. So Aaron Gordon questionable if he's out. Jonathan Isaac, who's been starting at the 4, good matchup against a weak rebounding but an improving rebounding Washington team. Terrence Ross I would imagine slide into the starting lineup. Wes Iwundu also would see a bump if he is healthy coming off the bench. Josh Richardson, questionable. It'll affect all the guards. Richardson's been starting at the 3, but it'll affect D. Wade, Waiters, Justice Winslow, Goran Dragic. It'll be interesting to see what the lineup looks like if Richardson is out. TJ Warren remains out. It's going to affect Kelly Oubre, who's been seeing healthy minutes now, over 30 constantly and consistently. It'll affect Josh Jackson to an extent. His minutes have been coming down. Bender's been getting starts at the 4, so it should affect him as well. For Brooklyn, Damari Campbell, Treveon Graham out. Mainly just secondary players. Carroll sometimes gets in there and actually becomes something for DFS. It's going to affect guys. I mean, for Carroll, LeVert, Dinwiddie should see more stable minutes. Even Napier back there. Treveon Graham's been out for a little bit. Jared Dudley saw 15 minutes in his last game. I wouldn't expect that again. Maybe floats around 10. Alan Crabb continues to see 25 minutes getting starts. It'll stabilize his minutes a bit, and Kirkus will stabilize his a bit. Markieff Morris is questionable. The only other question mark as of right now, if he's out, it stabilizes Jeremy Grant for probably closer to 34 minutes instead of 32 or 33, which against Washington is a good matchup against Jeff Green, whoever it might be, Jabari Parker. It is a good matchup there. And then Patrick Peterson might pick up some minutes if Morris is out. Outside of that, Kevin Durant, we already mentioned being out. It's going to affect really this entire team. And we already looked at the usage bumps for Steph and Boogie Cousins, and then Clay right behind them. In terms of who I like, it's probably that order, Steph, Boogie Cousins, and then actually probably Draymond and Iggy over Clay. Clay's priced at 7,200 for a shooting guard. Tonight could be the night he scores 40 points, and we'll get into this, but it just doesn't seem great. Ricky Rubio being back, this pretty much eliminates and Raul Neto, pretty much makes Neto irrelevant, and Dante Exum, who came back last game on limited minutes. Joe Ingles' point guard minutes will be going down. Mitchell will get back to the 2, no more point guard minutes, and Royce O'Neal should move back to the bench after having a pretty decent start. And I'm somebody who rips Royce O'Neal because he's a bad basketball player, but he had a good game last time out. Let's move over to target offense. Before we do, I'll just quickly touch on Draft Dashboard, a tool that I actually got a question about today in the Discord, how I use it, do I like it? And yeah, I mean, I'm advertising it. I do like it. They're helping me. I'm going to be on Sirius XM, Sportsline USA, I believe. The show will first air at 11 p.m. on Friday. I know pretty late, but it will re-air on Saturdays, Sundays. It's just going to be pretty much 15 minutes of me talking strategy, and then I'll be talking about the Saturday and Sunday slate, focusing mainly on the Sunday slate, so it's just more relevant since it's going to get replays over the weekend. But Draft Dashboard has helped me with that. I use the tool, so I figured to sponsor them a little bit more in these videos. What it is, it's just a couple things you can do. You can just look at the stats quickly, see where players are. I'm not going to try and look at this too much because I like to just look at my own stuff early and then compare it with these things just so I don't get, like I said, biases. But you can watch list players, which pretty much just puts them in your player pool. You then have the watch players list right here. This is your player pool. You could build lineups out of that. You can kind of just change, see where you are in the day, get a nice idea of what you're liking. You can then optimize to build lineups from your player pool, or they will put in optimal plays for you if you don't have enough or if it doesn't fit. Another thing is their NBA cheat sheet comes out later in the day, already somewhat out right now. They just kind of give you their advice in terms of where the value lies in the mid-range, the expensive level, the value that's very cheap, lots of things. They have ownership projections now, so definitely check out Draft Dashboard. There's a link down below. It's 30 days for $1 a promotion. Try it out, 3 pennies a day. Can't hurt if you're looking to sort of increase your game with a tool like this. So let's move over to target offense, and I'll blow this up for everybody. We can blow it up even more. There we go. Nope, too much. Cool. So this is the target offense sheet that everybody really has been enjoying. I posted on Twitter. I posted in the Discord. If you're a Patreon, you get the actual Excel sheet of this, so you can move it around if things change, like the total, whatever it might be. So target offense sheet for 12 teams today, 6 games. And what we're just trying to identify here is the best possible team spots. So what that includes is the total, the line, the spread, which is just how much a team is favored by or an underdog by. Doesn't really come into any of my play too much, but at least let you see where those competitive games will be. Seems like we have pretty much all competitive games for the most part tonight. Widest spread is 7.5 points in this Brooklyn OKC game, but I'm actually interested in that game based on the total, based on that insane pace. OKC playing at one of the fastest, I believe the fastest pace since the new year. Brooklyn, very surprising team playing for their playoffs and seeding at this point. This is a game, as you can tell by the pace, amount of possessions per game, more possessions, more fantasy points, and I just project this using a little bit of an equation. So yeah, you can see the pace right here for this Brooklyn OKC game. Lots of pieces in this game. The Brooklyn side is a little bit harder to figure out, especially now that Dinwiddie will revert back and healthy. Mainly Dinwiddie coming back because it hits Russell a little bit. Price starting to come down on Russell, but maybe not enough yet. And then the OKC side, you have the studs out there. You have guys that going up against these Brooklyn bigs, Jared Allen, and that's pretty much it out there. Ed Davis is going to get 18 minutes, 20 minutes off the bench. Going up against these Brooklyn bigs, you have guys that are in a favorable spot, like Jeremy Grant, the 4. If Morris plays, don't really love him, but 15 to 18 minutes at the 4. Steven Adams, who really is dust if Paul George is out there with Russell Westbrook, because they're just rebounding machines, triple-double, double-double upside machines. It really hits Steven Adams, but a really ideal matchup today. And I am focusing on this game right now. Jared Allen's price is too cheap. Matchup against Steven Adams isn't great, but if he's going to continue to see around 27 minutes, I don't see why Jared Allen can't push for 30 fantasy points plus. And at his price, which if we go over there, just going over to Draftkings quick. If we just look at his price, or I don't even know why I'm doing this. I have the projections here. Jared Allen's price at 4,700. It just continues to come down. Another $100 reduction there in Jared Allen's price. So that's just why he's obviously an interest if the price is coming down. Minutes are staying somewhat stable for a guy whose minutes have been everywhere for the majority of the year. So highest pace game, not the highest total though. The highest total is going to be in Golden State and Houston right here. Pace below average, so sort of a pace down spot here. You're going to get the highest total. You're going to get Kevin Durant out, so there's some pieces now and ways to get Golden State players in, which usually their usage just kind of eats each other up based on what their price range is. Boogie Cousins maybe still too expensive, should see a usage bump. Clay in the 9,300, low 9K range. Has to get you close to 50 points for you to feel it. He gets a much better chance of doing that without Durant out there and having to pick up that production. Players that I'm interested in, maybe Iguodala taking over. Right now I have him in for 27.5, 28 minutes. That might get bumped as the day goes on, as the news goes on who will start. I imagine it's Iggy, but we'll have to see in place of Durant. Outside of that, though, Chris Paul is cheap, and we'll get to it. Under 7K now, becomes a very interesting spot, especially in this game. Overall, other spots on the slate, Rudy Gobert is in a smash spot against Phoenix. Best possible matchup on the slate for a guy who's just continuously somewhat underpriced on DraftKings, 8,200 today. Derek Favors / Crowder at the 4. Both guys, Crowder will likely see more minutes as he has been getting closer to 30 minutes a game. Favors just also a nice point per minute guy. A lot of these Utah guys I'm getting ownership towards early, or just attraction towards early, just based on the matchups. Phoenix then against Utah, DeAndre Ayton's a little bit underpriced, I believe 6,300, decent matchup. But yeah, you guys can play around with this. Obviously, Atlanta's on this slate, so what do we like to do with Atlanta? Target them with guards. We have a pretty good guard in Mike Conley on this slate, as well as DeLon Wright, who's been getting around 25 minutes a game at the 2. Both guys definitely in play, more than in play today against Atlanta on a 6-game slate. So that's target offense. I'm going to quickly go over to my early interests. So early interest, just like I said, people early in the day that I'm building around. I know I spelled Iggy's name wrong, so let's just get that shored up. Oh, something's going to pop up there. Yeah, let's just get Iggy. Early interest, IGUO, and then Dala. Bang. Yeah, he's cheap, right? 4K, especially if he starts in this offense. He's going to be one of the better plays. Right now, he's popping. This value is coming from my projections. This sheet right here, people have said, okay, like that's your projection sheet. This isn't. This is just sort of like a highlight of it, just quickly, not to give away everything. This is the projection sheet, and it has a lot more. Just early interest. Paul George's price is continuing to come down. Seems like his shoulder might not be healthy. Only shot 8 times. I think he made like 1 or 2 shots in his last game. Still got the 40 fantasy points just because of the peripherals and the usage. You can see around 30% usage rate. Against Brooklyn, I like this game just in general, the pace and everything. I think that this is a spot where he's cheaper now. If you want to double up with him and Westbrook, it becomes easier. He's definitely an interest. Rudy Gobert, we already said, great spot. Price is there. I like Rudy Gobert a decent amount today. Steph, Cousins, and Iggy, these are the guys that I'm interested in from Golden State. Not so much on Clay due to the price. Not so much on Draymond due to the lack of production, at least in cash. Mike Conley, Delon Wright against Atlanta. Both of these guys are automatically interest. Any guard against Atlanta is pretty much an interest for me. DeAndre Ayton, not a guy I usually get around to, but it seems like his price is at a point now where in this matchup, I believe it's the hammer as well. 6,300 is digestible. Jay Crowder, Ricky Rubio, guys that I'm interested in outside of Gobert on Utah. Crowder, I like the minutes there, especially at the price of $5K. It becomes very easy for him to pay that off. Dion Waiters, I'm interested in, and probably D Wade too a little bit, and maybe even Justice Winslow if we get news that Richardson is out. If they're all healthy, I don't really want any single piece of that game. In terms of the Miami side, Steven Adams, Jeremy Grant, they have great matchups today against Brooklyn. That's why they're on here. Steven Adams, not sure I get a lot of him. Jeremy Grant at 4,800, a much more favorable spot or much more favorable price for his spot in terms of just he's going to get his minutes. Steven Adams is going to get cut into mainly from the Paul Georges, the Russell Westbrooks, and Jeremy Grant will to an extent as well, but at least his price is $1,500 cheaper. Ceiling probably also lower though. Spencer Dinwiddie, 6,100. Not sure I get there, but look, if he's going to play 30 minutes, which I think right now I have him projected around 28, 6,100, he should be able to pay that off in this high-paced spot, especially since Carroll is out. We'll have to see what the lineup is looking like in that rotation. Adds a little more minutes for him potentially. Jonathan Isaac, 5K, especially if Gordon is out, like it a little bit more at the 4 today against Washington, a little bit of a poor rebounding team. Vucevic, 9,200. It's tough to get there when you have guys like Steph, you have guys like even Cousins without Durant playing in maybe better spots. Vucevic against Washington, though, better matchup, I would say, but maybe not a better overall game spot. Kelly Oubre, 6,200. We talked about his minutes stabilizing. His usage on this team has gone up. It's over about 25% since coming there, even with Booker out there. TJ Warren being out has helped him a lot, especially over the last 2 weeks of the season. He's really coming on, catching a stride. Reggie Jackson I put on here. I mean, not a ton of usage or not a ton of interest in terms of he does get good usage as a point guard, a third best player on this team probably behind Draymond and Blake. But Miami's an awful matchup for any point guard. The only reason he's on this list is because $4,800 is interesting for a starting point guard who should see 29, 30 minutes today, probably closer to 29. So for $4,800, it makes it easier, especially in cash, for him to pay that off. Riskier playing cash due to the matchup, but this guy does have 40-point upside. He does have stable floor around 25 most of the nights, and at 4,800, you do like that, especially for cash. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of early interest. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of news, and I'll leave it on the target offense page. Not a ton of news right now. 6-game slate. Not sure if we'll get a ton of news, but there's always something that can pop up, so always stay up to date. Follow me on Twitter to make sure any updates throughout the day. I'll usually either retweet or I'll put something out about like the Warriors like I did last night, some sort of research that I like to look into. Head over to Patreon if you do want the projections. Over there for $7.99, 30 cents a day. Pretty much comes out to $7.99 per month, not per day. Some people ask that. And also for a free month of the projections, hop into the Discord. Just ask in the NBA chat, say, hey, where is this free tournament? Again, free tournament. First 100 people in there, whoever takes first is going to get a free month of projections. And yeah, check out Draft Dashboard. Again, they have their cheat sheet here. They have their player projection, lineup optimizer, some nice things in here to check out. Ownership comes out later in the day. My name is Sal. You already know that. Best of luck on this 6-game Wednesday slate. Peace out, gang.